What's up and welcome to Kplus Gaming Corner, and in this Outriders video I'm sharing my version of the Devastator's Marshal set. Ever since the base game release before Worldslayer, the Marshal set has always been seen as decent enough, but sort of second class when compared to the Seismic Commander set. Decent, but not as good, so why bother? But now, since Worldslayer, with the extra mod slots and the addition of some PAX tree nodes, and especially the way I have it set up, the Marshal set, in my opinion, no longer has to take a backseat to any build, as it's one of the strongest and most fun Devastator builds you can put together. Seismic Commander may still win in a speedrun race, as would a speedrun Pyro or Techno, but the Marshal set isn't far off in terms of the damage output, as you'll be able to outdamage your teammates no matter what build they're running, so let's get right into it. Looking at the skills, we're going all kinetic with Boulderdash, Endless Mass, and Gravity Leap. Endless Mass is important due to the Marshal set bonus, which states that when it pulls enemies in, whoever is affected by it will be sharing 50% anomaly damage and also 50% weapon damage for 5 seconds. And this damage will be coming in multiple ways, including your Gravity Leap, Boulderdash, Moaning Winds, and any other weapon mods you may decide to equip. The set bonus itself will often be your highest source of damage when comparing your stats at the end of expeditions. Now, the way you want to play it is you'll want to start with the Endless Mass to get enemies into the gravitational pull, then immediately Gravity Leap or Boulderdash into the fray, whichever you have available, and then finish them off with the Moaning Winds Radiation Splash combo. No one should be left standing by that point, even elites, and even if they are, one more rotation should do it. And when we get to the PAX tree, you'll see that we always have at least one kinetic skill available at all times, so waiting on cooldowns won't be an issue as you'll be spamming your skills while smashing through content. Looking at our weapons, I've been having some fun with two in particular, my trusted Sunfall and also an Heir to the Desert I picked up recently. Heir to the Desert is always a great option due to the attributes it comes with: Armor Pierce, Status Power, and Skills Life Leech. Sandstorm always performs well in any build, and this one came with Violent Rupture, which is also great, and then I threw on Mage's Rage. The Sunfall is the same one I've been using, as I've been upgrading it as my levels have increased, and it comes with Firestorm, which introduces burn onto enemies for a nice status effect, Ultimate Bone Shrapnel, so we're also bleeding enemies, and then I have Mage's Rage as my addition. That one's optional though, as other mods like Death Renome could also work here, since that's also boosting both anomaly power and firepower depending on how many skills you have on cooldown. You might also want to introduce even more status effects like Toxic with Noxious Spawns, and Slashing Twister is a really fun mod that performs well that I don't see too many people running with. For the secondary weapon, I'm using a Death Shield, but it's the same Moaning Winds Radiation Splash reload mechanic. The way I run it is I always hit the Moaning Winds right after my Gravity Leap to maximize the effect of the Despair mod, and also the Marshal set bonus if enemies are still affected by that. Switching to the gear, we have the Marshal's helmet, which in my opinion is one of the most badass looking helmets in the game. It comes with Wide Horizons, which increases the range of your Endless Mass by 25%, which is great because that's more enemies getting pulled in and being affected by the set bonus. And then I have some extra damage I'll be doing to enemies bleeding with both Bloody Boost and Tainted Blood, so 24% extra damage we'll be dealing, and I'll explain in a bit how we'll be getting bleed onto enemies with our skills. The chest piece I'm using could be better since I don't really need Stare into the Barrel at all. You'll want one that rolls with Captain Hunter or no resistance against the Fortified, or anything else more useful, but my luck has been pretty bad here as I'm still on the hunt for something better. The important thing is it comes with high intensity, which is just like Despair in that it increases anomaly damage against enemies pulled into the Endless Mass by 30% for 6 seconds, which also works great with the Marshal set bonus to maximize damage as you're leaping into them and boulder dashing and using Moaning Winds. I left Human Comet on here for the extra damage your Gravity Leap will be doing, but feel free to swap that out if you have a better idea. Let me know in the comments what you decided to go with. For the pants, we have the Marshal's Waistcloth, which comes standard with Power Assimilation, which increases your anomaly power for each elite present on the battlefield, so the more bosses and elites around, the more powerful you'll be. And then these came with Primal Chain, which is great since now enemies hit with your Boulderdash will be getting 15% more damage for 5 seconds, and it stacks up to 5 times. I included Mosh Pit here, which inflicts the vulnerable status to enemies pulled into Endless Mass, allowing you to deal even more damage to them, but this spot is also optional for experimenting. It works great for me though, so I'm sticking with it. I'm using purple gloves with anomaly power, close range damage, and cooldown reduction, though I'd rather have status power and skills life leech instead. I actually do have an alternate pair of gloves I switch in from time to time that have just that, but then I lose arms and anomaly, which I prefer to primal knuckle duster, which is increasing Boulderdash's damage. I guess I could go either way. Leave some suggestions in the comments which ones you think I should go with. Both these gloves are otherwise identical, coming with Bloody Crush, which is how we're getting bleed onto enemies with our gravity leap, and we'll be leaping around all the time. And then I included Captain Hunter for the extra 16% damage you're doing to elites and bosses. I'm using purple boots with anomaly power and status power, and these come with Untamed Power, which works pretty well here since simply activating a skill is dealing a good amount of damage to enemies in a 5-meter radius. You'll notice sometimes against certain elites like Broodmothers, and especially the Arbiters, they'll start resisting your endless mass, so it stops working on them. One of the only drawbacks with this build. But you'll notice the Untamed Power effect still procs whether endless mass works or not, so keep spamming it anyway, and you'll see Untamed Power doing anywhere up to 2 million damage. These rolled with Unstoppable Force, which is probably the best tier 3 mod you'll get on any boots in the 3rd slot. And I included Despair to maximize the effects of our gravity leap, since enemies hit are getting 30% more anomaly damage. As mentioned, this is usually when you want to dump some Moaning Winds onto those enemies, and if you're quick enough, hit them with a Boulderdash. For the class tree, we're going mostly bottom, though you don't need to hit the capstone since we're not using any seismic skills. Feel free to copy and paste this, and you'll want to hit Paladin for a 45% increase in anomaly power whenever you use any skill, and you want to grab both pure anomaly nodes for the extra resistance piercing. Protected by the Anomaly is something I always grab for the extra protection. No point in being a Devastator if you can't be an absolute tank. And then up top, I grab some extra cooldown for the kinetic skills as well as Into the Fray, which helps with damage mitigation whenever those kinetic skills are spent. That one's optional though, so spend that skill point wherever you like. For the packs tree, we're totally along the bottom, grabbing Obliteration for some extra anomaly power and resistance piercing, Earthen Shell, which grants you shield for dealing any kind of damage, and then very important, Terms of Engagement, which states that 60% of damage dealt with your kinetic skill will be added to the next skill you activate, and the effect alternates, so as you're leaping and boulder dashing and throwing out endless mass, you'll notice every other hit is doing a lot more damage than you may be used to seeing. Also important is Momentum. This is what is allowing you to spam your skills and cast almost at will, since each enemy damaged by a kinetic skill is reducing the cooldowns of the other skills by 1 second and can go up to 4 seconds if you're fast enough. With this and the relatively low cooldowns we already have, with our skills being between 6 and 7 seconds, you'll always have a skill ready at your disposal, and you'll be running around like a pyromancer with convection, barely any time to shoot your weapon, which is rare for a Devastator. For the Ascension, most of my points are in the anomaly area, with of course anomaly damage and anomaly power, resistance piercing, and status power. The other main thing you'll want is damage against elites, and the rest is really up to you to fill in as you see fit. There you have it, that's the build, Devastator's Marshal set. Coming up, I may be sticking with my Devastator a bit more as I'm playing around with a Death Proof set, and I also haven't decided if I want to put out a regular Seismic Commander, since I figured everyone already has one of those, but you can let me know in the comments if that's something you want to see. I'm also going to be moving on to my Technomancer with some unique builds there before revisiting some of my older builds with some tweaks based on some great suggestions I've been getting from you guys. So make sure you're subscribed to find out what's next, and if you like these sorts of videos, do give a like and thumbs up. Helps to push these ideas and suggestions to those who may need them. It's greatly appreciated. And with that, until next time, peace.